7 vectors in 7 months. This is the innovation pace at which adversaries are adding DDoS attacks to their toolkit. And these vectors consist of things like RDP over UDP, or taking advantage of Jenkins servers and sending requests that tip them over. There's a number of different vectors, whether they're new or we've already known about them, but adversaries begin using them more heavily in what we term weaponization. And so adversaries are using all of these vectors to be able to launch these complex attacks. And it's not just the new vectors that speaks to the innovation of these adversaries. It's also the way in which they use them. They're adding them together into these huge multi-vector attacks. In fact, there's at least one attack in Germany we know of over the first half of 2021 that leveraged 31 different DDoS attack vectors. And that's going to be a combination of both UDP reflection amplification as well as TCP-based flood attacks. And combined, these make for very powerful attacks that are often more difficult to mitigate. When we think about these different vectors, why are they important? Why should we pay attention to all the new vectors? It's not really going to impact me, right? Well, that's not true. It might have been at some point you would say, I'm never going to get DDoS attacked, or if I get DDoS attacked, but really that's not the right response anymore. It's when I get DDoS attacked. And whether you're the direct result of a DDoS attack or not, I'm almost positive that every single person has been impacted by DDoS in one way or another, whether it's from collateral damage or the network you're on sustained a DDoS attack and you experience some network issues or lag or latencies or whatever it might be. And so adversaries are taking these vectors and they're adding these into their boot or stressor services or into their botnets. And the thing to keep in mind about vectors is that they never really go away. There are some vectors that receive a lot of publicity. Memcached was one of those because we hit new watermarks in terms of bandwidth, 1.7 terabit per second attack. And when we look at Memcached at the time, there was between 30 to 35,000 of these servers worldwide. Now these Memcached servers would do as high as an amplification factor of 52,000, which is huge. We actually have a newer vector that actually is not in our threat report, talking about HTTP reflection amplification, which can have an even greater amplification factor. And so you would think that the community would band together and say, let's get rid of all of these. And we did a pretty novel effort, and we knocked out about 20,000 of these. Fast forward 2 years, and we're still dealing with between 10 to 15,000 of these Memcached servers existing on the internet that can be abused for reflection amplification today. And so you can see that the vector is still around. So there's really no reason why an adversary would remove that from their toolkit. Instead, we continue to see them add, and we continue to see what we're calling an omni-vector attack. Omni meaning essentially all the things. And so that 31 vectors used in a single attack in Germany, we anticipate that watermark to continue to move up and to the right because adversaries are continually adding these new vectors into their different tool sets.